Hello then, day two. Although I wasn't actually going to come out today because yesterday was so hard and I got lost, and I must have done about 20 miles instead of the 16 that I could hardly walk this morning, but here I am anyway. It's midday, so I'm just going to walk from here up to Black Hill, which is up there over my shoulder, and across to the next road, and Roz is picking me up in four hours from now. So it's a short day anyway. So behind me, that's Clough, where I was yesterday, and if I turn around, that's Laddow Rocks, and that's the first thing I've got to get up to the top of that. Once I'm up there, it's a bit more easy getting across to Black Hill. Okay, so that's Laddow Rocks. I'm going to call it Laddow from now on. I don't know whether it's Laddow, but it's going to be Laddow from now on. Crowden Great Brook in the middle, I think. Now, I'm not sure what this mass in front of me is, but that leads up onto Tooley Moss, more of which later. Looking back to Clough. I'm a quarter of a mile from the top of Laddow Rocks. Slow going because I think I'm still suffering from yesterday. But I did want to stop just here to give you a little anecdote of the previous time I was here. I'm going to go right back to North Wales. I did all my mountaineering in North Wales, and there was almost a sort of a thing that everybody did after, in the A5, after a day's walking or rock climbing. There used to be a little tea shack. It was along the A5 from the Ogwyn Cottage towards Bethesda, and it was a wooden shack held down with guy ropes, and everybody used to put on duvet jackets to go there. You never saw a duvet jacket in Wales and in the hills, but at about 5 o'clock, when everyone came off the hills, there's a grouse making a noise behind me, everyone would go down, put their duvet jackets on and go down to Mervin's Tea Shack, it was called, Mervin's. If you go there now, Mervin's is in the new block, but it's nothing like the old one. Anyway, the reason I'm telling you this is because when we were down in Crowden, we met a peak park warden in a duvet jacket, an enormous duvet jacket, bright red. And the first thing he told us was that the Pennine Way didn't go up that side over there, which I'm going to show you. Now, my guidebook took us over there, and he told us it comes up this side where it does now. So we came up this side, and we were going to come up this side, and he said, "Where are you camping?" And we said, "Don't know." He said, "You can't camp in the hills, you'll have to camp on a campsite in Crowden." That meant we'd got a 24-mile journey the next day or something to get to our youth hostel. And for the first time in 2 days, the rain had stopped, the mist had cleared, and we could see where we were going. The sun was out actually up here, and we wanted to get on with our journey. So we said, yeah, okay, we'll go to the campsite. Well, actually the Pennine Way leaves from just near the campsite. So we went to the campsite and haired off up here. And as we got to about this point, we looked back and we could see somebody in a bright red jacket following us. Well, this was 7 o'clock at night, and there's no way we wanted to be told to go back down to Crowden to camp. So we decided we'd race off up here. Got to the top here, carried on to Black Hill. Couldn't see him, weren't sure whether he was following us, so we carried on to Clough. just because we were being chased up here by the Peak Park warden to try and get us not to park down there. All because we were trying to avoid the Peak Park warden, who was going to tell us to camp down in Crowden. So another 15 minutes to get to the top here, perhaps an hour to Black Hill. It's 2 hours since I left the car now, so I've got 2 hours to get to Wessenden, where Ros was going to pick me up. Okay. So I'm on the top of Laddo Rocks, walking along the top. You need a pretty good head for heights up here. Glorious views back down the valley. That's straight down Laddo Rocks, and then good view down the valley to Crowden. 3 hours since I started now, a bit slower than I'd hoped. I'm on about Red Ratcher now, on the, I think it's Crowden Great Brook. Could be another hour to the top of Black Hill, so I'm going to be late for Ros. I've warned her not to be concerned. About halfway up Black Hill now. I'm onto some more slabs. None of these slabs were here last time I came, and it was awful here, very muddy all the way. So great improvement in my opinion. I'm enjoying it because you can keep going on it. I'm still on the slabs, not there yet. Behind me is Laddo Rocks, where I've just come from. Doesn't look as though it's too far, but I said that before. Okay. This is Black Hill. Behind me there's the trig point, and when they were putting that trig point in, that's when they found the support timbers for the great Ramsden theodolite that they did the original triangulation of England and Wales with. I've stopped here, which is about 60 odd metres from the trig point, because when we came in 67, this was the closest you could get to the trig point. From here onwards was a sea of black peat, fairly liquid peat as well. So we got nowhere near the trig point, and we had to go past the trig point and find the path going on the opposite side. So I'm at the trig point now. I've arrived along that path, and it's fairly obvious I'm going to leave along that path. But 50 odd years ago, none of those slabs were there, so they were just marks in the grass. And if you remember, I said we were told to come up which way to go by the Peak Park warden. Our guidebook said come from that direction, and I've come from there. Our guidebook said go off in that direction, and I've got to go this direction. That left us in a bit of a quandary because we were leaving our guidebook behind. We weren't anywhere near where our guidebook said we should be. I misspoke then, really. The directions we were taking were nowhere near what the guidebook was telling us to do. So I'm going to have 5-minute breaks here and then get on down the path to meet Roz. I forgot to say, when I was talking about this area being liquid peat, if you just look around it now, they've made a deliberate attempt to try and green up the moors again, and they've done an amazing job. I was up here 20 years ago and I didn't think by now there'd be anything left at all, and yet it's all green. It looks glorious. Amazing place. I'm just coming down to the road. There's a glorious view of the moors here. No specific view, but it's just incredible. So this is Clough. This is where we camped on the second night in the dark because we've been chased by the park ranger who wanted us to camp at Crowden. And I think the tent was about where I'm standing. Somewhere there. It was a miserable camp because we pitched the tent in the dark, we cooked in the dark, and the tent and the sleeping bags were all wet from the previous night as well. So not our best, most enjoyable camp. And these are the before and after photographs of the campsite at Clough. It looks to me like the area that we camped in has been covered by a slump of soil from the bank above. You can just about see it on the last photograph. Okay, I've reached the Land Rover. I'm just going to do a bit here. It'll be interrupted by cars every now and again because they only seem to drive at 70 miles an hour here. We'd arrived here and our guidebook wanted us 2 miles down that road there, which is along there. The Pennine Way now goes round the corner and in to Wessenden reservoirs and lakes. That wasn't marked on the map, that wasn't mentioned anywhere, so as far as we knew we were 2 miles away from the Pennine Way and all our instructions started up there. So the first thing we did on the start of the day was to walk 2 miles along this road, which was absolutely appalling. So tomorrow I shall be going down there the proper way, and I'll meet where we arrived further along the way. Eventually I'll remember to do a beginning and end piece for all of these films, but for now, thanks very much for watching.